Now you are in for a treat. I'm gonna explain it too that most Photoshop channels are afraid to explain because honestly, they don't know about it. Well, let me start the intro like I always do. How you doing? In this video, I'm gonna talk about the mixer brush tool. Come on. Now the mixer brush tool is located over here. You right click and right below the color replacement tool is the mixer brush tool. Shortcut is B. You click on there and right now I feel like this artboard should be wide. So let me just make the artboard wide. I apologize, just give me like it just a little bit. A little wide though, not so much. Oh, sorry, click the artboard and then make it like a little wide like that. Right. So mixer brush tool over here. Now let's I wanna make it how it starts. Okay, this is me. I was using it, so this is how I left it. So I just wanna make it look how it would look like to you when you use it for the first time, right? Great. So let's just leave it like this, right? Right now, over here is empty, right? This is where you load your brush. Before I even explain this, let's just start here, okay? In case you don't know everything at all. Over here is where you select your kind of brush. You can make it bigger, the size. You can make it smaller, okay? I can leave it over here. You can make it harder, 100%. You can make it softer, 1%. I would leave it over here. Over here, you can choose the previous presets or the previous strokes. Okay, you got to be careful because sometimes strokes from another tools can be here, right? So if you pick them, you will be definitely switching to that tool. If it's an eraser tool, then you're going to go to the eraser tool. So you got to be careful with that. And over here, you can select your brushes. It's your computer, it's your brushes. I don't know, but this is where you can select brushes, right? Right, let's move on there. Click away, come on now, all right. No, don't do that. Why you gotta do some before I even explain it? Right, now, okay, over here is the brush settings panel. Okay, I have a whole video explaining everything here, a whole video, okay? So go ahead and click on that video over there and watch that video. Right, over here, okay, you see here, this is where the load is. When you click here, you load and you select your favorite brush color. Okay, I'm gonna select this one. Yeah, I'm gonna select this pink, right? So now I have a pink color brush, right? Right, over here it says load brush. You're basically doing what I just did right now, but then you're gonna understand. Just keep listening, okay? Give me a chance, keep listening. Over here, you clean the brush, all right? And over here is use solid color only, all right? Don't worry, everything will make sense by the end of the video, right? Now, I wanna start by loading brush, okay? You see right now, I have the brush loaded. Okay, loading brush is basically when you dip. This whole thing right here is realistic. Okay, Photoshop just try to make this whole. That's why I say mixer brush tool should have been a separate window platform kind of a thing, right? Because it's all different, right? Now this is a realistic canvas that I'm showing you right now. Now let's go. I have a brush loaded. So loading a brush is when you take a brush in real life and dip it, okay? And dip it in a paint bucket, right? Now I dipped this one and I loaded it, right? Now when I paint, watch this. I'm gonna paint and move like that. You see that? The brush color or the paint sort of finished up over there, okay? Now when I come down here and paint again, see, click. I don't have any paint right now. Why? Because I gotta come back up here and click. Don't click here, because when you click here, now you're selecting a new paint, right? You don't want that. You wanna come here on this little arrow toggle and get this drop down menu, right? Come up here and load brush again, right? So you can come back and paint again like that. But it's always gonna finish up like that, and now you don't have it again. So you gotta come back again and load it back like that, and then paint with it again, right? Right. Now, what if you don't wanna come back and paint it and come back here and load it and come back and paint it? What if you don't want that? You can come over here on this, you see this icon over here, right? You click here, it's gonna automatically do that for you. It's gonna go back and dip the brush, go back and dip the brush, okay? For example, if I click and paint, now the paint is finished, and I let go, when I let go, it's gonna reload itself, right? So now I can keep going. See that? Again, keep going, without even going up here. Is that right? Right. Now, let me just untoggle this. Now, to every painter, right? Realistic painter, right? They know that every time they use a brush, right? Comes a time where they want to clean the brush, okay? They don't want to use the remaining paint on the brush. They just want to clean it and use another one. For example, if I have the brush right now, right? And I paint and I'm like, I stop here, right? When I come here and I continue painting with it, right? I'm gonna paint with some of the remaining paint on the brush. And if I continue once more, I'm painting with the remaining brush. Now the brush is finished. You see? Right. Control Z, go back, load it. So what if I wanna paint, right? And then paint again, and then I'm like, I know I still have remaining paint on my brush, but I don't want to use it. There's no way I want to use it. I want to just clean the brush and start over with another paint, right? You come over here and you say clean brush. Now the brush is clean. See, when I click, there's nothing, right? So now you can go ahead and pick a different color, okay? And then now you have another load, and then now you can do this again, right? And then you can go back and then load it, and then now you do this and you stop and you're like, I want to clean it, and then you come, sorry, come over here and then you clean the brush, and now you don't have a brush again, right? Right. But what if you don't want to keep coming here and clean the brush, come back and paint, and come back and clean the brush, come back and paint? See this icon right here? See this icon right here with the brush stroke out like that? Click that and it's gonna automatically clean the brush for you. So if you put let's do this one, the pink one, right? If you come and load it, right, and load, and then now you like paint, and then you stop, and then you're like, I wanna clean it. It cleans automatically. Now when you come back down and paint, you're not gonna have it, obviously. So you're gonna come back here and load it. Now you're gonna have another one, and when you let go, it starts over. If you wanna use both of this, you can do that, right? Right now it's gonna be a perfect example, actually. So I'm gonna toggle both of them, right? So now I'm gonna reload the brush automatically, and I'm gonna re-clean the brush automatically, right? So every time I stroke and I let go, now I have a reloaded brush and I have a clean brush. I stroke again, stroke, it doesn't matter, right? Clean and reloaded. Make sense? Right. Now, let's move on to what I'm gonna explain here by the end of the video, okay? Now let's move on to these options right here, okay? I feel like it's gonna be better when I start around here. Like, let me start where it ends. Let me start on the far corner, right? Right, I'm gonna start here and explain everything until I come here, right? Right, don't worry. It's perfectly random, but perfectly good for you to understand, right? Right. Now, over here is a sample all layers. Now, obviously, this is like I said, it's a realistic board. So if you have layers, that means you have a layer under a layer, okay? Now, if you want to sample a color from another layer, you can do that, right? But you gotta toggle this right here, right? Because if you have two boards, okay, remember now it's not gonna be just layers. They say layers because it's Photoshop, but then it's boards, right? It's artboards. If you have a layer, it's another layer like that. I don't know if you understand me. You can sample from another layer, a color from another layer. It's allowed, but then if you don't have this on, okay, you cannot allow sample from another layer. Okay, I don't know why I'm dwelling on that. It's actually quite straightforward. I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize. Yeah, so you can sample from another layer, and if you want that, throw this on, and if you don't want that, leave it alone. Over here is the brush angle, right? So for me, I don't need any angle because my brush is round, right? But let's say your brush is not round. Let's say you have a different kind of brush. Like let's say, what does this one look like? Make it bigger. Click. Okay, you see that's how it looks like, right? And if I come here on the angle and make it 56, sorry, 56 like that. Now when I come back and click again, see the angle, it changed like that, right? It rotated like that. So those are the brush angles, right? Right, let's go back to where we were. Great. And then again, let's make the brush smaller. Come on now, just be nice size. Yes. Right, so go back to the mixer brush tool. Right. We're done here. Over here is just the settings for this option that I'm about to tell you right now, right? Obviously, you cannot set it up now because again, it says it's 0 here, right? So let's go ahead and talk about it. Over here is actually the smoothness of the stroke, right? Right now, you see, I'm just gonna stroke like this, okay? What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna do something that I shouldn't do now, right? Don't worry, I'm gonna explain this. I told you I'm gonna explain everything, right? I'm just gonna do this because I wanna explain this one, right? Yeah, so don't worry about it. Don't even worry about what I just did right now. Just focus on this. We're coming here. So I'm gonna paint like this, you see that? And then maybe like do that, right? Now the paint is finished, right? But then if I come here and make this, let's start 50%, 51%. Now watch the smoothness of the stroke, right? I'm gonna come here and paint over like that, okay? Look at that, smooth like ice cream, right? And if you do 100%, okay, now it's very smooth, like it's actually not very natural. You know what I'm saying? So this very, yes. So that's how, or rather that's what smoothness is, right? The bigger it is, the more smoother it is. The smaller it is, the less smooth it is, right? Right. Now over here is the airbrush. Okay, for me, I don't really see any differences on what exactly to tell you here. Okay, airbrush and not see, it's not really big difference. Okay, it's just a small effect that painters can see. Okay, yes, right. So again, yeah, not to say don't mind this, mind it, okay, but it's an effect. It just adds an effect of an airbrush. Okay, yes. Now the flow, again, let me just put this back here. Don't worry about it, I'm coming there. The flow, right? The flow now is on 100%. If I do like brush here to here, and then I put down the flow to like 50%. So what I'm doing now is how the pressure of the flow when I'm touching the canvas, okay? Realistic painters know what I'm talking about, right? So right now when I touch with the flow, okay, the brush is not really in there, right? Let me reduce it to like 18, right? And now you see the brush again. And now let me reduce it to like 1. And now you see the brush is even less and less, okay? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Let's try one more time. If it's on 100%, it's gonna be just fully there. Just press down the brush, okay? If it's like about 52%, right? It's not gonna be so much, but still visible, right? And then if it's like 1%, it's just a little touch like that, right? So that's the brush flow. Right. Now, over here it says mix, right? We come in there. Let's remove this over here. Okay. Let's remove this right here. Over here on the mix, right? We come in here again. Don't worry, okay? Let's put the flow back where it was, right? Over here on the load is how much you want to load the brush, okay? When you load the brush, you can either dip it in the paint fully 100%, right? Which is this one, okay, obviously. Now the paint on the brush is too much, right? So if you paint like this, right, it's a lot of paint. See that? That's a lot of paint. That's why I can keep going. That's why I can keep going like that, right? I can keep going like that. You see that? Yes, 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 yes. But again, I want to remove this. I don't know why I still have it. But if I put the load to about 50% like this, still too much. But then you'll see that somewhere eventually the brush would finish the paint, right? Yes. Now it's half dip, right? If I do like 19, right? 19 is like, sorry, load the brush. 19 is like, you know, not so much again, right? And then if I do like 1, it's gonna be like a little tip, like load it, like a little tip, like tip. That's it. Okay, so that's how much paint on the brush you have. Okay, that's the load. Right? Make sense? Great. Over here is the wetness. Now, every realistic painter knows that when you paint, you need water, okay, and you need paint, right? Now, if you want to make the paint go far, you gotta dip the brush in water and dip the brush on a paint, and that way you can paint until forever, right? So let's try it. If we have the water, or rather the brush watered, or rather the brush wet to like 100%, right? Check this out. Now the paint is like 78, 79, okay? I swear, sorry, load it like that. I swear now the paint would go forever. Like it's gonna be too much, okay? Because the brush is wet, okay? It's wet, look at that. The brush is wet, okay? The brush is wet, see, it can keep going, It's gonna finish very far. If I put the brush load to, let's even do 1%, just to show you that making the brush wet is very important, right? Now 1%, remember before 1% was like nothing? Now 1% is gonna go far. Watch this. Just because the brush is a little, or rather it's very wet, but then look at the paint sort of losing it like that. You see how realistic the paint looks, right? Or rather the brush stroke looks? Yes. So now let's do like 50% or 45%, right? Of 1% paint load. And it's not gonna go very far. It's not gonna go very far. You see it reducing like that. That's it. And now if we do like 5%, it's not gonna be too much, but at least it's gonna stretch out. See? Yes. It's gonna stretch out like that. Right, now that is the brush wetness and the brush load, right? Now we have the mixer, right? Or rather the mix. You get what I'm saying? The mix is like this, okay? I'm gonna have this color over here, okay, like this. And then I'm gonna choose a different color, like a yellow. And then I'm gonna put it like here, all right? I hope yellow doesn't give a good contrast. Let me, it's actually the artboard that I chose. It's a little white. Now we have blue like that, right? Great. Mixing these colors is not how you think. This, again, remember, realistic painting, okay? Yes, so you gotta use the brush to brush with the blue on the pink, or brush with the pink on the blue, right? So if I brush here to here, right? Rather, before I do that, let me do this. Let's come up here and put the wetness to 100%, because remember, now we know what all of this means, right? Right, so now check this out. Before I mix this one with this one like that, let me show you something first. So now I have blue, right? I'm in blue. I'm gonna click from here, see that? From here, just brush through the paint like that, okay? See that? Brush through the paint like that. Now the brush, rather the paints are mixing together, realistically, right? I'm gonna do it again. See that? Now even the brush is still remaining of that. See when I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna just paint randomly right here. Just watch how the brush is still having that mix up with the other color. You see that? Yeah, that's what happens realistically, okay? You dip a brush here and you paint over another one, dip another one, and it's gonna look like that. Am I right? Right. That's the brush mixing. It's on 100%. You see that? Yes. And again, it's not just doing this like through like that. You could, again, just click and do this and ruffle up like this, ruffle up. You see the mixing is a little different now. See? Ruffle up like that. Okay? And now if you ruffle up like that, you can come here and see the mixing now? It's a little different. Right. And again, I can do this, you know, click here and do this and bring it here, bring it there, bring it there, bring it there, you know, it's again, same kind of thing, okay? Realistic painting, right? But now I wanna reduce the mixing to like 50%, right? Remember though, you have the wetness, okay? The more wet the brush is, the more mixing you're capable of, right? But then we are coming there, let's start here, right? You can mix now again, you can mix like this, but it doesn't mix very much. It mixes, yeah, I can see the mixing, but then, yeah, you know. But if you reduce it to, let's say, let's just say 1%, right? You see that it's a lot of blue than pink. See that? You see that? It's a lot of blue than pink. See that? Yeah, so the mixing is not it's overpowered by the other color. Right. Great. Now I'm gonna take this to 100%, the mix, and then what the load is fine, doesn't matter, right? It does matter though, because when you finish the brush, for example, if you put the brush to 2%, when we mix, remember it's blue, right? It's blue. Let me clean the brush because it has the mixing. See right here? It has the mixing. Let me clean the brush and then let me reload it again. Now that I have my load on 2, when I come here and mix it, my blue would finish, okay? And then I would have the pink would sort of dominate a lot. See that? Yes. Right. Let's leave that alone. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to 100%, okay? Now the wetness, I told you that the wetness defines the how much or how further do you want to mix. The more water you have on your paints, the more the paint would get a little thinner and it will mix so much. Right now it mixes so much, you saw that. When you bring it to 46% and with the blue again, you see that it mixes, but you know, it's okay. And then if we do 1%, right? Control Z. Now check this out. Oh, first of all, let's clean the brush. Clean the brush and reload it. Right. Now it's 1%, right? Actually, let's not do 1%. Let's do 10% like that. Now you see, it almost mixes, right? When you zoom, sorry. When you zoom in, you see the edges are sort of trying to mix, right? But they're not really mixing like that, right? Right. When you do 1%, there's not going to be very much 1%. There's not going to be, it's nothing. It's nothing. Look at that. It's like I'm painting on a different layer or something. See that? Yes. But then if I bring it up to, now check this out. The load is 100%. Imagine that. The load is 100%, the mixing is 100%, but there's no mixing at all. Why? Because there's no water, right? If you bring the water up to 100%, woo-wee. Now it's like, oh my, woo-wee. Ooh-wee, everywhere, 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 right? Right. I just realized this thing looked like a person now. Like I can put like an eye here. Let's move on to the interesting part as closure. Right, now over here, well, you can make me explain this, but you don't need me to explain this at all. These are just variations of brush styles, if you get what I'm saying, right? Yes, that's why you see this one is a dry, this one is a dry light load, this one is moist. It's just, you can go ahead and play with it in your computer. I don't need to really go ahead and do this, right? I might pick one here, just let me, I don't know, moist, I'm gonna pick this one, and then I'm gonna come here and explain something here, right? See this? Select load solid color only, right? These are solid colors only, right? So now let me show you something. Let's say I get like an image. Sorry. Yeah, let me get this image right here. Just make the picture. Yeah, make this picture like that. So now I have this color selected. See that? But if you come up here, click on and toggle this right here, load solid color only, right? Now you come here, or actually you don't do that. Click on that layer with this image, and then Alt, make the brush bigger like that, okay? And then now sample this right here. You see that's gonna be that right there. And now you can click once and you see that this is almost like the pattern tool, the stamp tool, the clone tool, and all those other kinds of tools, that, or patch tool or whatever. It's kind of like that, right? But then this one is a brush. I don't remember what they call it per se exactly, right? So let me show you. When I click once, it does that, right? But then when you click and drag to paint, watch what happens. Click and drag. Now you can paint with that, right? Yes, you can go ahead and make a nice design with that. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, that's a thumbnail right there. Let me do a thumbnail quickly. Let me do a thumbnail quickly before I even close. And again, it all varies on this kind of options you selected here. Okay, I can even go, I don't know, I can go here. Was I here before? I don't know if I was here before, but then I could also do that. You see now it's a little weird like that. I could also do this one. You see, also it's a little different than this one and that one. So those are the options that you play with. It's the kind of a brush that you gotta go with. So go ahead and experiment with that on your own. And as for me, let me make the thumbnail of this video pop, right? And yeah, that was a long tutorial, of course, because the whole thing, I told you that this tool deserves its own thing aside, okay? Yes, so I hope I make sense. I hope I got a little deeper. If you have questions, right, it's very much possible that I forgot to mention just a little thing there and there and there, but I'm pretty sure that it could be just one or two things. It's not so much, right? So if you have a question for that, go ahead and put it down in the comments and I'll answer you right away and tell you what's going on. I could even make another video of just those things based on your question specifically, right? Yes, so with that being said, thank you for watching. Go ahead and share this video to your friends because not many people can explain this. It's a hard thing to understand because we are not realistic painters. We are digital painters, if you want to call us that. Right, but anyway, go ahead and put a subscription, go ahead and like, take this video, share it on Facebook, let everyone see it, and thank you for your support. And I'll see you in a scroll.